and say, you know what, that scene, this doesn't fit. And it'll go into the outtakes on the DVD. Woody Allen, I'm a big fan of. I'll bring up his examples a little bit. He made Annie Hall, and he won the Academy Award for it. It was originally called 3 Women in the Life of Albee Singer, because Albee Singer had 3 parts to the movie. He was with Woman 1, Woman 2, and Annie Hall. And they went into the editing room and they go, the first segment doesn't work, the second segment doesn't work, the Annie Hall segment seems to work. Let's make that film longer and ditch the first 2. So here's a guy you assume the masters must know how to do it in one take. The masters know how to do everything in the first try. And they don't. Nobody does. This whole business is art and creativity. And finding, hey, that scene excited me, that scene's going to work. Or that scene kind of bored me, I'm not sure we're going to use that. But he went and shot 3 stories about 3 different women in his own character, Albee Singer's relationship, and ended up with, none of this is usable. We're going to have to just use a part of it and then write some more and continue to make this film. And they did. And they made Annie Hall and they ended up winning an Academy Award. Nothing is like set in stone that, you know, first drafts by Stephen King are bad. That's the point of a first draft, is just to get some stuff out there. And most people quit at the point when the pros start to rewrite. Most people quit when they say, oh, I didn't get a scene, that scene in the classroom didn't work. They don't go back out and reshoot it, they just quit. This scene isn't done when you leave the room. The scene is done when you're done editing and you find out if you need anything else, and you go get those shots and you add and you build it, and then you finally say, now I like it. But it's a very continuous process. You're not done in any one time. You're constantly evolving the project until it's ready to go out. And you have the time and the luxury to say, they're not holding a deadline to you saying it must be out, you know, October 1st because we're going to theater with it. You have some time to like rebuild some things. Find out what's working, what's not. Do more of what's working. Any questions? It certainly feels like a lot to do, and I kind of like to simplify and say, just, you know, go into a set and let people do their jobs. Try to have as few people as possible needed to do their jobs so that you're not tripping over each other. You really don't need 3 grips on a small scene in a room like this. But have somebody preparing. We're going to break at 11:30 for lunch because I was on a set once where we were working under a train bridge in Philadelphia, and it was freezing cold out, and every 7 minutes a train would go by, and we would like just be rattled. And between cold and horrible noise, the director was like not getting anything at some point. And I said, we should just take a break, get some soup, warm everybody up. He's like, no, we're going to move, push through, push through. And it got nothing done. Nobody can work when they get to that point of they can't perform, they can't do anything. You guys are taking one. So there's a point where you must figure out, okay, just because you can keep going, everybody may not be able to. You have to say what's best for the production. We should probably take some breaks. You know, it would be nice if at 11:30 you're going to take lunch break. Somebody, your producer, has already arranged to have those sandwiches here, and the sandwiches are here, not coming here. Because otherwise they all took a break and there's nothing to eat and they have to wait, and you just lost another half hour because food wasn't ready. So the logistical stuff, if you can get that taken care of, that'll expedite the whole production. If you can get the first shot off and you get people moving, you know, forward and not feeling like it's such a big deal to do this, we should really take our time and not start. Just jump in. The next thing will go faster. The preparation you do of having things like lunch is ready and dinner's ready, and knowing where you're going to go for the next setup. If the next setup is the principal's office, and you get there and there's a meeting going on, you can't get in, your producer didn't do a very good job of getting you set up. And you end up wasting a lot of time. And you don't really want to waste time doing that. You want to make movies. So that would be my recommendation based on, again, the way I work. I'd certainly like to drop down the level of apparatus. I don't like to have a zillion people with cases and cases of equipment, because those productions move through, in my estimation, they move through very sluggishly. They might do a half a page or a page a day. If you work with simple lighting, good, simple audio techniques, and you're prepared, you could shoot this 4-page scene, you could shoot that in a morning. Whereas Hollywood would shoot literally a page of this all day. So the bigger the production, the more you add time to your production. It also frees you up. You're not shooting the camera and moving the tripod and moving the lights and doing everything. So it's good to have some support. If you are shooting the film, it doesn't mean you shouldn't say, oh, I love that camera work, but the acting didn't have any resonance. You really need to make sure, are you getting the performance you want? Is it really good? Is it really what I want? The director, you know, it was always, at the beginning of filmmaking, it was 2 directors. The director of acting and the director of photography. And that was your 2 main people. The director of photography ran the crew and was the, you know, manager, the top guy for the crew. The director of actors met with the actors and dealt with the acting, writers and things like that. So you have those 2 people who are your key characters in the whole film. If you're going to be the director of photography and the director, don't sacrifice great camera work but not performance, because the audience will always go for performance. The audience is always engaged by good story and good performance over, wow, that camera work is really fancy. Because camera work can't save a bad story. And it goes back down to this little example you can take with, is an example of, give us a surprise. Keep the audience guessing. You want to have it so that each scene, probably shorter than this, but each scene has a surprise that we didn't expect, because if a detective goes out to work and he goes into his office and nobody comes in with a murder, we don't have a story. We just have a guy sitting in his office. So something has to happen. Typically, you know, a lot of filmmakers will write long scenes, and sometimes it's like, look, there's nothing happening here. But they're new and they're trying to write scenes that are moving the story forward. Keep thinking about, how can I shorten my scenes, and how can I get the same thing accomplished with less words, maybe even more action. This script is very wordy because it's all about what people say, and there's one graphic on the screen, but there's not like great visuals. There's a few cell phones, but it's not like a scene that like is great cinematically. It's kind of a standard high school classroom scene. So, any questions?
I'm curious how many have made a film before. Has anybody here actually made a film?
1, 2.
Not yet.
Are you guys going to make a film for the Niwot Film Festival?
Nod your head, say yes.
Because you could make a short. You could make a short that takes place in one room. You don't have to do, a short film doesn't have to have a lot of locations and move and do all these things over a period of time. You could have one scene that takes place in one room. Don's film with the guy at the stop sign, that was one location. It's just basically one little event. And you guys can all do that. The biggest thing I would suggest is, we don't need more filmmakers making Quentin Tarantino ripoffs. We don't need filmmakers doing something that they've seen elsewhere. We need your individual visions that will make us go, I need to hear that. I need to watch that. I need to go see his next film or her next film, because those are the films that are what I want from that person. Hollywood will tell you, we want to make the same thing we've always made. We want to make franchises because you know what Scooby-Doo is faster than you know what Forrest Gump is before they advertise it to death. It's easy to market what people already know about. you're going to write independent films that are not going to have that, unless you go buy rights to things people know. So if you're doing that, write from heart, write truth, write to make people mad, write things that are, you know, your vision, because we need to hear something that you have to really say, not, well, it's just another movie like something else. We don't need that. We need your vision. And ultimately, that's what's going to, you know, make you the David Lynch, because you're a little bit of a weirdo. Not really. It's going to make you Alfred Hitchcock, because you love mystery and suspense, and you can do it like nobody else. But find what you like to do. What you like to do, you will do better than anything else something else that you saw somebody else do, and you're going to do more of it. And whatever you like to do, that's all you're going to get to do. George Romero made Night of the Living Dead, and that's all he ever gets to make is zombie films. And Hitchcock made mysteries, but he didn't make comedies, because we don't want his comedies. We want suspense from him. If you get into Hollywood, you will make it, and they will ask you to make it again. You make Paranormal Activity, make number 2, make number 3. Can I make a comedy? No. Make number 4. Because that's how they make money, is with a brand. So brand yourself. What do you want to make? Do you want to make a great comedy? Do you want to write little vignette comedy like Woody Allen's Annie Hall? Well, then write that. But make it your own story, your own vision, that's something that nobody else could make. Because that's what makes it yours, and that's what we need. We need filmmakers with vision who are willing to put themselves on the line and say, this is what I think. As opposed to, I just copied Tarantino and everybody's bloody, look at that. So.
We're out of time, Ken. I want to thank you for contributing your time and expertise to the group. So everybody.
I want to make sure, I'm sorry.
One other thought, either find your parents' camera or get to know one of these guys with a camera. And also the public access outlets in Longmont and Boulder. I think with a simple sign up, it might have to be your parents, but you can check out pretty nice equipment from those places too. So we hopefully follow us on Facebook and such, and we'll have some of that information there.
Before you go, I want to make sure, has anybody not signed the sign-up sheet